So the fourth beta phase of Steel Division 2 brings with it a new set of battle groups. We have the Harteneck for the Germans and we have the 9th Guard for the Soviets over there. So today we're going to look at the German battle group and later on we'll be having a look at the Soviet one as well. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. And the good thing is about this battle group, there is a new nation that has been quote unquote added to the game. We have the Hungarians with that special plane. And yeah, a ton of fun. Definitely a nice addition to have like some different nations sprinkled in there. It just makes for a really interesting look. So, as always, we'll start with the Recon tab. We'll go over through whatever we have selected, and then we will go over, you know, what is left in the list and if they are new or not. And the code for this battle group is down in the description, as always. So we have some Aufklären, 4 of these in Phase A, just some MP40s. Basically, you only want to use these to spot stuff and not engage any of it. Exceptional stealth, only 2 men, so you can sneak by the enemy unnoticed. Speaking of sneaking by the enemy unnoticed, we have the VK901 here, which I'm going to attempt to use to make some flanks. I have played around with this battle group quite a bit in a live stream that I did, and if you want to see that live stream, check out the main page for the playlist. And so yeah, this battle group is pretty well balanced at this point. And in Phase B, I have an additional card of Recon here. We have some Speertroop units, or Speertroepen that I like to call them. MP40s, rifles, machine guns, you know, all around good small squad. Kind of reminds me of Brothers in Arms. But yeah, once again, I wouldn't necessarily engage anything with it, but if you do have some good weapons to do that with. Let's go over through the rest. So we have a BMW motorbike Recon. We have the KPZ or KFZ4. Not a new vehicle, but very fun to play with the dual MG34s. We have the Aufklären once again. We have the 39M Saba. This is the new Hungarian vehicle that has been added with a 20mm 39M anti-tank rifle. Pretty good penetration. And an 8mm machine gun, heavy machine gun. And the difference between this and a VK9 is definitely the penetration and the rate of fire of the VK9. It is much higher because it's actually an autocannon compared to an anti-tank rifle. And the speed of these vehicles are exactly the same. And the VK9 is more armored. So yeah, that kind of, you know, makes it an easy decision. And they are, you know, the VK9 actually has very bad stealth compared to bad of the 39M. So that might be the only thing that the 39M has going for itself. So if you want a more stealthy approach, this might be better. Compared to the VK9, you know, just in case. But if I do usually spot infantry in the woods, the 20mm might be actually able to wreck them. Speertroepen, and as I said, the Cossack, the new infantry recon that has been added with all Russian loadout over here. So pretty good recon units for, you know, 12 men infantry. You can even use these on the front if you have them in Phase C or Phase B. Speaking of infantry, there's a lot of it going on here. So we have the Reiterführer here, just a leader unit with 4 MP44s and smoke grenades. 6 Panzer Grenadiers. Pretty good loadout, so this is more focusing on the mid-range and long-range interactions. Then we have, and we put these in Zis trucks over here. Then we have the Right Jaegers, which is a more close quarters infantry unit with Panzerfaust, so they can also deal damage to tanks or armored vehicles. Then we have the Right Jaeger with the MP44, so this is kind of a middle ground here, where they have a lot of medium range weapons, but also enough long range weapons. So with these, I kind of usually combine these 3 different types of infantry with each other to kind of cover all areas or all lengths of engagements or distance of engagements, if you want to call it that. So in Phase B, we have some Jaeger Pioneers, and normally I would go for some like armored vehicles, but we honestly don't have a lot of it, sadly. Now we have these guys in the SDKFZ 251-1s. So one way that we could get more is removing the armored vehicles of any other unit that we might have, but this is the only one with the half tracks with the guns on it. The rest will basically disappear when we unload them. So Jaeger Pioneers, good mid-range infantry with also some grenades that they can use against infantry. Once again, the Right Grenadiers with the very good close quarters loadout and the Panzerfaust. we have the new infantry squads here. 16 men infantry. Reminds me of those penal battalions that were in the Russian team. I think it was in the Russian team or German team. I'm not quite sure. But you had, I think, yeah, there was those Russian ones. Where you had like a 18-man squad that was like 35 or 40 points. That has a really good loadout here. 3 LMGs. I mean, that's going to stun everything. And then in phase C, I have yet another card here with right Jaegers with MP44s, Carabiners, and Panzerfausts, just in case. Like, it might be good to get these guys, but in phase C, if I'm up against an armored Russian battle group, I definitely want the Panzerfaust. And they're just good against anything, like they can deal damage to infantry as well. Yeah, what else do we have? Some Feldgrenadiers, these have been in the game before. We have Ersatztruppen. You can get these in phase A only. So if you don't like any of these like specialized infantry units, you could get the Ersatztruppen. They're pretty good at filling the gap. They're not great at holding the front. That is probably the best tip you can get about these. We have some Stoßtruppen, so some PPSHs, basically assault squads with PPSHs and MP40s and some smoke nades. Decent units. We have the leader here. Some more leaders, the Grenadier Führers with MP40s and rifles. Now we have the Grenadier DPs with all Russian loadout, but they have the Panzerfaust instead. Well, they do have the Karabiner 98 actually, so not all Russian. Yeah, interesting infantry unit. It's kind of similar to, yeah, I would say the right Jaegers, but these guys, the right Jaegers are more CQC, whereas the Grenadier DPs are more mid-range, long-range interactions or engagements. So it kind of depends on your playstyle when it comes to which unit when you want to select. But honestly, you couldn't go wrong with these guys. They're pretty good as well. But yeah, the right Jaegers have more men as well. Yeah, some Reiterführers. Pretty badass looking leader units, honestly. We have the Hussaraks, 16 men units, which we've also put in our battle group. But there's two different ones. So we have one that has more SMGs, more rifles. Instead of LMGs, it has anti-tank grenades. We went for the more rifles and LMG because we already have, you know, the right Jaegers with the Panzerfaust. Once again, Jaeger Pioneers with the anti-infantry grenades, which we've also put in phase B, and right Jaegers with MP44s, which we also have in phase A. So a lot of infantry. In the tank section, I should say, we finally have Tigers, and there's one thing that I might even make as an adjustment to this battle group, which is to put tanks in phase C as well. Right now, they're all in phase A and B. So one way I could balance this is put the Yak Panthers that we have in the anti-tank tab in phase B, get a few of these in phase B, and then we will push these Tigers into phase C, and we get 8 of these big boys. Now that's 125 front armor versus the 105 front armor. So now we have a stronger hitting tank with less armor in an earlier phase, which is probably what you want. And then we have a better armored but slightly less powerful gun in later phases, and we get 8 of these. Yeah, this looks like a better deal to me. And then we can always move. Yeah, we can just combine the Tiger E Führers with the Yak Panzers. But then again, as you can see, this is basically the only part of the battle group that I'm not too certain about. So we might just keep it like this for now and just basically replenish the front line with the Yak Panthers. So in the tank tab, Stug 3G Führers together with Tiger E's in phase A. And in phase B we have the Tiger E Führers with Tiger E's. So we have 6 Tigers in phase B, and then in phase C we get those 9 Hetzers, the Yak Panthers. There's also more Stug 3Gs that you can go for. You can get 6 of them in phase C. If you go for the mid-veterancy, you can get 9 on the lowest veterancy. Really good gun. But yeah, the Tiger still has a better gun. And then you also have the T-34-42 captured Russian tanks. Support tab, I am a really big fan of support. We have some Jaeger MG42s. You can also go for the ersatz MGs, but these guys have the MG34 compared to the MG42 of these bad boys. There's one downside to going for the MG42s compared to the ersatz is you get less of them. These guys you actually get 8 compared to 5 on the lowest veterancy. 4 if you go for the mid veterancy. So it kind of depends on what you want to do. But then again, since I really love my fire support, the ersatz MGs sometimes are the better deal. Like, I'm not gonna lie, they are really, really good at just suppressing infantry. Like, if they get fired at, they're gonna pretty much die anyways. Yeah, but then you also have the fact that the Jaegers have 4 strength compared to 3 strength here, and the MG42s have a better rate of fire and suppression rate than the MG34s. They do have both the same range though, so it really depends on what you value above what. Jaeger MG42s it is for me. Here we go. In phase A we also have some supply trucks. Lately I have been using these more and more in earlier phases compared to later phases, just to make sure that I can repair my trucks, my tanks that is, replenish the smoke on my artillery, and yeah, just keep everyone nice and happy and supply it throughout the earlier phase of the game, which is really important. We also have a commander in phase A. We have the Sta-42 here, really good assault gun, a big cannon, 105 mil, really good suppression as well on this, and pretty good, decent rate of fire, basically around every 10 seconds, which is not too bad. And in phase B we have some more supplies. So I already went over the ersatz MG, which you could probably switch with the MG42 if you want more numbers. But, you know, all of your infantry has MGs anyways. We have some 50mm mortars. That's such a cute little tube there. We have the Panzer 3N here, another assault gun with a decent suppression. Definitely not as good as the 42, but, you know, it's only 30 points. So once again, it comes down to, do you want more of them, or do you want a few that are really good? So you could swap these two out. And I've put 2 of them in phase A to help with infantry stunning. If you go for phase B, you get 4 more. So try to micro these as good as, you know, to the best of your abilities. And you'll do a lot of damage with them. That is about it. So we have some Panzer 2Cs in phase, well, in phase B, and we have the Stug 3F in phase C. Anti-tank is where it gets really interesting. So we have the captured Russian Pak 184s. Is it the Russian? I think it's the Russian Pak 184 45 mils. Anti-tank gun, decent penetration. I have 6 of these in phase A, so you can just put these everywhere. We also have some Panzerschreck in phase A. You guys know how much of a fan I am of anti-tank infantry in the anti-tank tab. We have some Pak 40s in phase B. Beautiful anti-tank guns. You can get 2 of them in phase A. So if you don't like the lack of tanks in phase A, you could always go for some Pak 40s in phase A as well. Like, you could do that by removing these guys, since we have a lot of anti-tank infantry anyways. Like, we have the Right Jaegers with the Panzerfaust, and, you know, we have them in phase A and B. So one way you could balance this is by just removing these and putting some Pak 40s in there. But yeah, I just love the range of these guys. They're stealthy, they don't move the front line as much, so you could also flank around with some recon and you know, get some tanks in the sides. And they're just so good. When they hit, they just wreck. So yeah, Pak 40s in phase B, 3 of these on mid veterancy, and the Hetzer, the Jagd Panther 38 in phase C. It's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. So what else do we have? We have the Marder 3, finally. Really good gun on this. A ZIS 3 gun. 105 mil penetration on the AP shells. The HE shells do pretty good suppression damage, or have a really good suppression on it as well. I mean, it's a 76 mil at the end, so it'll definitely do some damage there. I've not put them in there because honestly I think that these tank destroyers are like glass cannons, especially if they have an open top, and don't even let me, you know, talk about the Marder one. They just die so quick. But yeah, I'd rather have some Yak Panthers instead. So one way, what you could also do is remove the 148s and add the... yeah, add the Martyrs in. But some static anti-tank guns are definitely worth it. We also have the FK288 over here. Really good Zis 3 gun. 1 of 5 mil penetration on that AP round. So once again, very good. You only get 1 of them in phase A on the mid-veterancy. You can get 3 of them in phase B. But then again, you have the Pak 40 over there. And the Pak 40 does more damage with its AP round as well. Yeah, pretty fun loadout so far. Air tab, not too exciting. So we had the 11 flags, the STKF set 11 flag. In phase A, you only get at the most 4 of them on the lowest veterancy, 3 on the mid veterancy, and honestly, I don't think they're worth it. They don't do a lot of suppression. What I've gone for is I've got the STKF set 7-1, the flag Fearling in phase B, 2 of these, and we have 4 of them in phase C, and I'm banking on my air power in phase A to cover while I wait for later phases. But, you know, you could get these guys if you value your AA a little bit more. Honestly, these battle groups are still a work in progress, so at one point I might remove something and add more AA to, you know, sprinkle and cover that gap, but so far this has been working out for me. In the artillery tab, my favorite artillery pieces, the STKF set 251-2 or /2. Really good, fast, mobile mortar pieces that fire really quick as well. 17 rounds per minute, pretty accurate, do a good amount of damage, nice amount of shells. Yeah, what's not to like? And you get 2 of them in the phase A. You could go for 3, but that takes away some of its accuracy. Now we have the leader units. We have leader units in the artillery tab. Why, you might ask? Because here it only costs 2 points to get 4 infantry leaders, commanders, compared to here where it would cost me 3 points. So yeah, as you can see, no leaders in phase B or C, and I've kind of covered that gap with getting some battery furious in phase B. They do the exact same thing. So the other artillery piece that we have is 80 mil mortars. We have the 120 mil mortars, we have the Kubel off map, the 1 of 5 mil, and we have a plain off map, which is a 210 millimeter off map artillery. Really powerful. What I've gone for is the 75 mil howitzer, because sometimes I really get lucky and get some recon behind enemy lines or leaders really close to the front line. And with this, I usually focus on either their like for counter RD, or I manage to stun their, you know, their AT guns or their tanks, or I just smoke off something that is really far away from me. And yeah, these guys really do the trick. They are slow, so they are prone to being countered. So it just depends on your type of play style. But yeah, nothing is self-propelled apart from these guys. So you gotta go for something, right? In the air tab, as I said, since I need to bank on my plane power or air superiority in phase A, I have 3 of these ME109 E4s on the highest veterancy possible in phase A, 2 20 mils and 2 7.92 mils on the nose and on the wings. Oh, there's a 20 mils right there. Cool. Yeah, pretty good planes, 90 points, really high veterancy, 520 kilometers per hour speed. Now there is a catch. You could also go for 2 mid-veterancy G6s. These are faster planes. They do have 1 less autocannon, but they have a 13 mil instead of the 7.92 mils. So I think they're both good. Like for instance, if you look at the G6, its 20 mil is more accurate. That is one thing. It has, you know, the rest is literally all the same. But it has those 13 mil machine guns that are as accurate as the 7.92 mil, but they do more suppression. They have a bigger blast, I guess radius, and they do more damage. They do twice as much damage. So yeah, it really depends on what you think will pay off. I think the veterancy of these 90 point ones will make the difference. So I just went for these. In phase B, some more fighters. We have this guy here. The ME109 G6 R6 with the 2 gun pods, the 20 mils another 20 on the front, and 2 13 mils on the nose. This thing is not going to go anywhere. In Phase B, we also have the ME410 A1U4 Tank Buster. Very powerful. I've used this quite a bit on tanks. With that 50 mil, it just wrecks everything. And also has 2 20 mils on the nose and 2 turrets. This thing is a beast. Absolute beast. HE111. It has been a long time, but they are finally here. We have one with 8 250 kilogram bombs, so 2 tons in total. And we have the one that drops 2 1-ton bombs. Look at those jugs. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, we have the 250 kilos in Phase B, and we have the 1000 kilos in Phase C, just so that I have something in Phase B to play with. Yeah, the rest is pretty much the same. So we have the G6 here, which we have not put in our battle group, but it's basically the same. It's a really fast fighter, but it has 120 mil and 2 13 mils. So once again, depends on what you want. It is a bit cheaper, so I'll give you that. And Jesus, you can get 9 of these or 8 of them. That is insane. But yeah, if you want these in Phase B, you can get 4 compared to 2 here. So once again, it kind of depends on what feels better. I just like the G6 R6 because they have multiple gun pods. They will probably stun faster. I mean, it has 3 20 mils and 2 13 mils. So that's probably going to pay off, and should be able to take down planes really quickly. But yeah, that is, I think, about it for this one here. Yeah, that is it. We also have this guy here. Actually, I've already gone over that. Yeah, that was it. So in the defense tab, since it is a more infantry focused battle group, we have a lot of defenses. Barbed wires, MG42s, 2 cards of trenches, and 2 pack 50s, which is just going to wreck face. But yeah, that was it, guys. I hope this battle group will help you get started, and I definitely hope to see you guys on the battlefield. And yeah, code is down below in the description. Go check it out and have fun. Take care.